Moving on now to the ABC's flagship political program 7:30, which, for the record, took nearly a week to cover the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And when it finally did, this is who they decided to interview.
Kill them. Kill those motherfuckers. Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in the red capitalist bloods, dude.
Yes, the person they spoke to about Charlie Kirk's death was Hasan Piker, a very far-left political streamer notorious for his violent rhetoric. Now, host Sarah Ferguson did actually ask Piker about that particular clip, and he just brushed it off as a joke, but he has said far more than just that.
Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be showing your opponent's guts on there. You need to be shanking these motherfuckers and letting their intestines just ride on stage. Slice them up, dice them. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Okay?
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization that is also a part of the Lebanese parliament.
Do we like them or no?
I think as a resistance group, they're pretty successful against Israel.
Overall, what my favorite flag? Yeah. Hezbollah. Look it up. Oh. I'm not even kidding. It's actually a dope flag. Any kind of Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a rabid neo-Nazi. And you shouldn't even let someone be the local dog catcher if they've ever exhibited any sort of like positive feelings about the state of Israel. I'm so serious. America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
As for the interview itself, it started off with Piker condemning the assassination, but it quickly devolved into criticism of Kirk and the Trump administration.
Instantly, I knew that this was going to be something that the administration will use against those that they've declared political dissidents. And unfortunately, my fears were realized shortly after when Donald Trump came out, only a couple hours after announcing Charlie Kirk's untimely demise, and make a statement about how they were basically going to start prosecuting and persecuting political dissidents.
And it gets even worse. The ABC, in its online copy, portrayed this guy as some sort of a hero. It wrote, despite the escalation of threats directed towards him, Mr. Piker told 7:30 that he would remain vigilant but undeterred, while in a country where gun violence is a problem. Let's bring the panel back in to discuss. Now, Kel, this Hasan Piker is just an abhorrent individual. I don't know what they were thinking, putting him on this platform as if he is this some kind of representative of progressive views. He is as fringe as it gets. He has these despicable views. You've seen the clips. He has a track record of supporting terror organisations, of specifically calling for violence. And these journalists, they seem to not understand who these people are that we're dealing with.
I've got to be honest and say, I don't believe they didn't do their research. They must have had some idea of who this man was because they played a clip, right? They did play one clip and ask him to respond to it. So they knew where he was coming from. What they also...
And the clip was sort of, OK, now we can talk to him because we've asked him the one tough question.
We've tamed it. But that clip, he's actually saying things that a lot of people in the Democrat Party say. Jasmine Crockett is saying things like this, right? And she's in Congress for the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party has got people saying things almost as extreme as this man. What's happening? We talk about Australia being divided. America is more deeply divided. The left is now extremely left. The Democrat Party is now extremely left. And you can't go on thinking of your opponents, the Trump supporters, as evil without thinking it's okay if they die. If this young man, father of two little girls who now don't have a daddy, if he's on the right, he is so evil he deserves to die.
Darren, bring you in here. What do you think of it?
I'm shocked that they've given a platform to him and airtime to him. I think it risks normalising very inflammatory rhetoric. There are so many authoritative voices they could have gone to for commentary on this really, really important story. And I mean, I think it's very lazy commissioning and it just shows incredibly poor editorial judgment. It's a shocker, an absolute shocker.
Yeah, I agree. Now to America, where free speech is suddenly the most important principle to those on the left and the radical media commentators. They weave and twist to find any reason why those on the left should not have to rein in their rhetoric after the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
We're talking about a love-torn child, a kid. This is probably his first real relationship, and somebody was disparaging the person that he loved. He sat on that building for 30 minutes before he took the shot. Why did he wait until the first word trans came up? Then he took the shot. I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally. I think this was a emotionally stunted person who literally, when I say it this way, just hear me, tried to defend his significant other, not trying to defend some ideology.
That was Montel Williams, known for hosting a daytime talk show and dating former presidential hopeful Kamala Harris once upon a time. To Williams, it was just a story of love and in no way related to politics. Of course, CNN's Scott Jennings was quick to point out we not only know the motive, we have the shooter's text messages where he explains why he did it.
The evidence here is overwhelming. He said, Charlie Kirk, I can't stand this hate anymore. I'm going to take him out. The testimony from him and the statements of his family, he had become more left-wing. He etched the statements that are made by the left about Republicans and conservatives and Charlie Kirk fascists on the bullet casings.
He made a joke about it in his last text.
But it doesn't sound like a joke to me because someone's dead and about to be buried.
Well,
so it doesn't sound like a joke to me. So I'm just telling you, there was an effort all weekend long on the left to try to make this guy sound like he was a conservative. That failed. That was passed around all over the weekend. That has now failed. The evidence has now come out. He was motivated by hate. He was motivated by left-wing radicalism. He got mixed up with some trans ideology in his life. We'll learn more about that, I'm sure, when more evidence and testimony comes out. We are looking around the edges of this for something other than what's staring us in the face.
Well, joining me to try and dissect this story is Gabriella Power, host of Power Hour, one of the most watched podcasts in America. Gabriella, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jack.
Well, the extraordinary commentary that we're seeing on CNN and this suggestion that it was a lover's defence, for me, I look at that and I see a justification.
Yeah, I look at that and I think, imagine how Erica Kirk is feeling listening to that right now, that this suspected murderer, this psychopath who killed Charlie Kirk in the most evil way possible in front of his young children, in front of his wife, in front of all those students there, in front of the world, really, we all watched that vision. And then for Montel Williams to say he was a love-torn child, I mean, and it wasn't politically motivated when we know the facts. I mean, thank God for Scott Jennings there bringing the facts to CNN that this it appears to be very much politically motivated. His parents have told authorities that he was becoming more and more left-wing. He was dating the trans boyfriend, of course. And, you know, we're learning more about the details leading up to that attack. For even Montel Williams to try and defend this shooter waiting for half an hour to get the exact right moment to take a shot at Charlie Kirk, I think it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, well said. Well, one man who fell for the conspiracy and went to air with false claims that the shooter was actually a Trump supporter was Jimmy Kimmel.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Well, those comments cost Kimmel his job. The regulator in America was poised to launch an investigation into the ABC after Kimmel knowingly spread that lie. And we know he knew because several days before Kimmel went to air with that conspiracy, the Wall Street Journal revealed the shooter's bullet casings had phrases such as, "Hey fascist, catch," written on them. But all of a sudden, the left is in favour of Kimmel's right to lie. The Guardian reports censor-in-chief trumped back FCC chair at heart of Jimmy Kimmel's storm. And of course, many Hollywood actors and left-wing pundits are outraged that Kimmel's comments cost him his job. But I must have missed where it has been agreed that TV channels should have no regulation and no obligation to the truth. Those harping on about free speech now are ignoring the fact that the host told an intentional lie. It isn't the right being hypocritical here. It is the left, which created the robust regulatory environment which is now being policed by. So this is the remarkable twisting and weaving that we've seen. And I knew that there was going to be some shameless twisting, but the pivoting from this notion that, well, no, he was actually one of you, to this notion that, no, we can say whatever we want. When has that ever been the standard? When has it ever been the standard in the media? If you're a journalist or a presenter and you publish something which is knowingly false, particularly around this kind of environment with this rhetoric, you get sacked on the spot. It happens to everybody, and it should happen to people.
Of course, there are consequences. Jimmy Kimmel was on $15 million a year. He has more than a dozen staff writers. There are about 100 staff that work on the show. He knew exactly what he was doing. He made those comments 5 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. It wasn't an off-the-cuff joke. It was an intentional lie. And I think so many Americans have just really had enough. They've really woken up. They're sick of being lied to about Joe Biden. They're sick of being lied to about Donald Trump, how he's constantly being labelled a fascist. He's being labelled a Nazi. We're sick of hearing so many lies from the mainstream media. And this is another one from Jimmy Kimmel, and it was intentional. You know, the other point, of course, is that his ratings have been in decline, and so really he's had a lot of time to reflect on some of the commentary that he makes. Back in 2015, he was averaging about 2.4 million viewers. Now, 2025, it's 1.6 million. It's nearly 40%. And, you know, he just doesn't seem to care that Donald Trump he won the popular vote, won all 7 swing states. The majority of Americans want Donald Trump in. There are so many MAGA supporters out there. And Jimmy Kimmel made this joke clearly to smear MAGA, just so tasteless, 5 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And also, what's the biggest story here? In the last 10 days, Charlie Kirk lost his life for speaking freely, and now we've had a comedian that's been suspended for lying on air. You know, and now the left are jumping up and down, freaking out for the first time about free speech. The same people that were very happy to see Megyn Kelly get cancelled, Tucker Carlson get cancelled, J.K. Rowling be cancelled, all of a sudden are really concerned that Jimmy Kimmel's lost his job. Yep,
no sympathy from me there. And we have much more of this, much like Kamala Harris's old boyfriend. Some people thought that the shooter's disturbing text messages were actually sweet and romantic.
It's heartbreaking on so many levels. It was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love.
I mean, shocking comments. He has apologised. Again, I don't know how you could be in a situation where you could look at those text messages and put some kind of positive spin on it. So I personally don't accept the apology.
I cannot believe it. I mean, this is when we were getting the most chilling evidence that we've heard so far. Text messages where the suspected murderer leaves a note for his boyfriend saying, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I did it. More of these details were revealed from authorities in this press conference. He says, I'm sorry, when he was questioned if you were the person who actually did it. He said, I had enough of this hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. And this ABC News reporter describes the text message exchange as very touching, makes a big point about how this suspected murderer calls his boyfriend my love. I mean, who cares how he described his boyfriend?
A weirdo. I mean, there's incompetence and there's just plain
it's
weird
very
to look
strange.
at that.
It's romanticising the person who is accused of killing Charlie Kirk.
What an absolute muppet. Nothing seems to have happened to him either. But Gabriella Power, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Jack.